I live in a small town just outside Seattle. Rain isn't exactly rare, but this was the kind that catches you off guard. Cold, sideways sheets that slam against your windows like they're trying to get in. The kind that make you double check the locks and pull the blankets a little tighter around yourself. I had just gotten home from work, late shift at a cafe downtown, and I was soaked. My socks were squishing in my shoes, and my hoodie was so drenched I could wring it out. All I wanted was a hot shower, some leftover pizza, and a couple episodes of The X-Files before bed. That was my vibe. Nothing spooky, just comfort and background noise. I live alone. First floor apartment and unit backs up to a greenbelt, which basically just means lots of trees and no neighbors on that side. Normally I love that. Quiet. A bit of nature. What more could you want? But that night, something felt off. You know when you can just feel something's not right? Like a static change in the air? Or how your stomach knots up before bad news? That's how it was when I walked inside. At first I thought maybe I left the light on. The kitchen had a faint glow, even though I swore I turned everything off before I left. But it was just the reflection of lightning through the blinds. Still, I locked the door, even double-checked the black siding door, which I rarely do. I pulled all the blinds closed and turned on a few lamps so it felt warmer. The wind was howling, and every time thunder hit, the whole place shook a little. I settled in with my pizza and cracked open a soda. I wasn't even halfway through the first episode when I heard it. 3 deliberate knocks on my front door. It was almost midnight. I muted the TV, sat there for a second, wasn't sure if I imagined it. Then it came again. Slow, spaced out, not hurried, not polite, just strange. I got up and went to the door, but I didn't open it. I looked through the peephole, couldn't see anyone. I waited. Nothing. I chalked it up to the storm. Maybe something blew against the door, tree branch or something. I went back to the couch, hit play, but I didn't relax. I was sitting up, every muscle tight. I kept glancing at the blinds, half expecting to see a face pressed up against the window. But there was nothing, just rain and wind and thunder. Then I heard something else, from the back. Sliding glass door. It sounded like rattling. Not super loud, but enough to make me freeze. I stood up and tiptoed to the back door, pulling the vertical blinds apart just enough to peek out. There was a man standing in my backyard. No umbrella, no raincoat, just a hoodie, dark pants, and bare hands hanging at his sides. He was standing completely still, facing the glass, head tilted just slightly. His hood was up, but I could see his face well enough. And he was smiling. Not a friendly smile. Not even a creepy smile. It was like the expression of someone makes when they've already won. Like he was watching me realize something, and he was enjoying it. I jumped back, heart pounding. I didn't scream, but I made this awful noise, like a gasp and a sob all at once. I went to grab my phone, dead. It must have died when I was watching shows earlier, and I forgot to plug it in. I turned off the lights and crouched behind the couch. I didn't know what else to do. I was scared to make noise, scared to even breathe too loud. The sliding door didn't open, but he didn't leave either. I peeked again after 5 minutes. Still there, just standing, watching. I tried to tell myself he was just some random weirdo passing through. Maybe homeless, maybe high, maybe harmless. But the way he stood there, it didn't feel random. It felt like he knew me, like he picked me. Eventually, after what felt forever, I peeked again and he was gone. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I charged my phone and told the apartment complex. They said they'd send maintenance to check the locks and told me to call the cops if it happened again. Great. Super helpful. I bought a bat and kept it by the bed. 2 nights later, it rained again, and again he came back. This time I saw him walk into the yard, just appeared from the tree line, like he'd been waiting there. Same hoodie, same posture, same smile. I called the cops this time, hid behind the couch, and whispered into the phone. They took 20 minutes to get there. By then, he was gone again. They didn't find anything, no footprints, not even mud tracks anywhere. But it was pouring. I know what I saw. After that, it became a pattern. Only when it rained, every time a storm rolled in, I'd brace myself. He never knocked again. Just stood in the back by the sliding glass door, watching. I started sleeping at a friend's place. They thought I was being dramatic. Even started to question if I was imagining things. I started to question it too, until the night I came home to grab clothes and found muddy footprints in my hallway. Just a few, barefoot, leading from the back door into the living room. I lost it, packed a bag, and stayed with my sister. I told the landlord I was breaking the lease, didn't even care about the fee. And then I moved. New city, new apartment, 5th floor, no trees, no greenbelt, no sliding glass door. I felt safe again, until last week. It rained, hard. I made tea, pulled a blanket around me, and smiled at the sound of it. I was finally enjoying rain again. It had been months. I thought I was done being scared. I was halfway through a book when I heard a tap at the window. Not a knock, just a soft, rhythmic tapping. I ignored it. Probably the wind. But it didn't stop. I sighed and walked over, and pulled the curtain aside. And there he was, pressed against the glass, face flat, cheeks smashed against it. That same smile, that same dead stare. 5 stories up. I screamed, fell backward, crawled across the floor, grabbing my phone. By the time I looked back, he was gone. Police came. Took it more seriously this time. Said it was impossible for anyone to be on my balcony without coming through the apartment, and my door had been locked. But they found something. A length of climbing rope, tied to the railing above mine. Someone had been on the roof. And you know what the worst part is? My neighbor upstairs? She moved out of there weeks ago. The unit's been empty, but the landlord swears the window latch was broken when they inspected it yesterday. The police did a full investigation. Turns out the guy was a drifter. Homeless, but smart. The type that slipped through the cracks. He'd been camping in the woods behind my old complex for who knows how long, watching tenants. Watching me. They found a journal and a storage locker he rented. Pages and pages about me. My routines, what I wore, what time I left, what time I got back, what shows I liked. Apparently he thought we were meant to be together. Said the rains always brought her home. He was planning to take me, to save me. Said we'd be together forever once I finally saw the truth. They caught him a few days after the balcony thing. He was trying to break into another building nearby. Had zip ties, duct tape, and a knife in his bag. They say I'm lucky. I don't feel lucky. I moved again. No balconies, no ground floor windows. Every lock checked, double checked. When it rains, I still check the windows, because part of me thinks he's not done yet. And I know what I'll do if I ever see that smile again. I used to love walking in the rain. There's something peaceful about it, especially at night. The streets empty out, the city feels quieter, like everything slows down. I'd throw on a big coat, grab my headphones, and just walk. No destination. Just thinking, breathing, existing. It helped with my anxiety. It made me feel invisible in the best way. This story made me stop. It started last fall. I had just gotten out of a long relationship, and instead of dealing with my feelings like a healthy adult, I did what I always do. I walked. It was raining hard that night. Cold, steady. Drizzle with low clouds that made the streetlights look blurry and yellow. I took my usual route, past the corner store, through the park, and around the old historic neighborhood full of weird, lopsided houses. I liked that part best. Nobody ever seemed to be outside. About halfway through the walk, I realized I wasn't alone. It wasn't anything obvious, just a feeling. You ever just know someone's behind you? That tightening at the base of your skull? Like your body knows something your eyes don't? I glanced over my shoulder, casual like I was checking the time. There was someone a block back, holding an umbrella. That wouldn't be strange, except I hadn't passed anyone for a while, and I didn't hear them coming up behind me. It was like they just appeared. Still, could have been a coincidence. I kept walking. A few minutes later, I checked again. Still there. Same distance, same pace. Matching me. It could have been nothing, but it didn't feel like nothing, so I tested it. I crossed the street, so did they. I turned left at the next block, so did they. Okay, now my heart was going. I ducked into the park and sped up. Not quite running, but definitely not strolling anymore. I took a long path that looped around the pond, hoping maybe I was overreacting and they'd just keep going straight. When I finally glanced back again, they were gone, vanished. I stood there for a while, soaked, heart hammering, scanning the trees. Nothing. I told myself I was being dramatic. Got home, locked the door, and dried off. Told a friend about it later and we just laughed it off. Maybe just another night walker like me, right? But then it started happening again. Every time I walked in the rain. Not always right away, but eventually there he'd be. Umbrella up, always the same distance back. Always just there, matching my pace. Never close enough to see his face clearly. Just far enough to feel safe, but not actually be safe. Once or twice I tried to duck behind trees, hide in alleys, wait to see if he passed. He never did. He just stopped walking. Waiting. Then the second I moved again, he'd follow. I tried switching up routes, leaving at different times, even skipping the walk for a while. That helped, for a bit, but I missed the rain, missed the peace, so I started again, thinking maybe it was just a coincidence, a fluke. Maybe he'd move on. First walk back, it was clear he hadn't. Only this time he was closer. I decided I was done. I wasn't about to get murdered just because I liked gloomy weather. I stopped going out in storms. I stuck to the gym or walked during the day. But the rain kept coming. And one night, it came while I was already out. I was getting groceries, just a normal evening. The clouds rolled in out of nowhere. By the time I left the store, it was pouring. I didn't have a jacket or umbrella, so I pulled up my hoodie and jogged home. I didn't even think about him. Not until I got to my front porch and looked across the street. There he was, still holding that same black umbrella, just watching. Not walking this time, just standing there, still as hell, like a statue. I fumbled with my keys, heart racing, and slammed the door behind me, locked it, then double locked it, then pulled the curtains closed so fast I nearly yanked them off the rod. And that's when I realized something. I never told anyone my address. I'd only ever seen him when I was out, not near home, not in my neighborhood. So how the hell did he know where I lived? That night I didn't sleep. The next morning I called the cops, filed a report. They were polite, but clearly thought I was just being paranoid. No crime had been committed. Just a guy with an umbrella, right? Next time, try to get a photo, they said. Yeah, okay, I'll remember to take a selfie with the creep next time he's stalking me. I started carrying pepper spray. I took a different route to work every day. I kept my curtains shut, even when it was sunny. I stopped answering the door altogether. It helped, until the storm 2 weeks ago. It came out of nowhere. Thunder, wind, sheets of rain hammering against my window. I sat on my couch, lights off, just staring at the door. Something in me knew. I waited. An hour passed, nothing. Then, knock, knock, knock. Slow, even, I froze. 3 knocks just like that. Then silence. I tipped to the peephole. Nobody. I stood there for 5 minutes before opening the door. And there on the mat was an umbrella. Black. Just like his. I didn't touch it, just stared at it like it might explode. Then I heard it. From the side of the house. Scraping. Like something hard dragging along the siding. I slammed the door and locked it again. Grabbed the pepper spray and ran to my bedroom. That's when I remembered the back door. I sprinted through the kitchen, half slipping on the floor. And just as I reached the handle, I saw the knob turning. Not shaking, not pounding, turning. Someone was trying to come in. I screamed, threw the deadbolt, and pressed my whole body against the door. They jiggled it once, then stopped. I called the cops again. They arrived fast this time. Did a sweep. He was gone. But they found footprints around the side, bare feet, no shoes, and he had written something in the fog on the window next to the back door. One word, soon. They told me to stay somewhere else, and I did. A friend's apartment across town. Different zip code, different everything. That was supposed to be the end of it. But last night it rained again. I couldn't sleep, so I made tea and stood by the window, just watching the drops hit the glass, reminding myself it was okay now. I was safe. Then my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Nice view. Cute mug. My stomach dropped. I looked at the window, at the mug in my hand, and then I noticed something I hadn't seen before. Across the street, a car. Black, parked under the streetlight, engine off. And through the windshield, I could barely see the silhouette of a man, holding an umbrella. The cops traced the number eventually, and here's where the story breaks open. It led back to a guy named Adam. He worked at the corner store I used to pass on my walks. I never noticed him, but apparently he noticed me. He found my social media, tracked my routine, followed me home one night without me realizing it. Started watching, waiting. He quit his job 2 months ago. Nobody knows where he lives now, but they found a storage unit he was renting. Inside, photos of me, hundreds. Some from behind, some through windows, some from inside my apartment, taken through the glass when I had the curtains open. One even showed me asleep on the couch. And in the corner of the unit, dozens of black umbrellas, all identical, neatly lined up. They haven't found him yet, but it's raining again tonight, and I swear I saw a shadow move behind the car across the street. I used to rent the basement level of an old duplex in Oregon. It was a weird little place, low ceilings, carpet that always felt damp, and one of those showers with the half curtain because the ceiling was too low for a regular one. It was all I could afford after a breakup, and I didn't care much about comfort, just needed somewhere quiet to disappear for a bit. It rained all the time, not just little sprinkles either. Actual relentless rain that turned everything gray and soggy and made your clothes smell like mildew, even if you just did laundry. The basement had a smell too. Not strong, not gross, just old, like wet wood and forgotten spaces. At first I liked the solitude. I worked from home, I didn't have many visitors, and I kind of melted into that life. Quiet, uneventful. But then the drain started making noise. There was a floor drain in the middle of the bathroom, just a little round grate in the tile. I never thought about it until one night during a heavy storm when I heard it gurgle. Not a soft bubble either. Loud. Almost like someone was blowing air into a straw from underneath. It startled me enough to look down at it. Just water backing up, I figured. Old plumbing, basement apartment, whatever. But then it kept happening. Always when it rained, always louder than you'd expect. Like something big was shifting under there. One time it made this choking, wet cough sound that literally made me jump back from the sink. Like someone struggling to breathe. I called the landlord. He said the plumbing was ancient and stuff like that just happens. Don't worry unless it starts backing up. That was his actual advice. So I tried to ignore it. But then one night, I swear I heard a voice. It was storming like hell. Sheets of rain slamming the window, thunder, the works. I was brushing my teeth when I heard it. Not loud but clear. From the drain, a whisper. 2 syllables. Help me. I dropped my toothbrush, bent down, pressed my ear close to the metal grate. Probably dumb, but I had to know. Nothing. Just water noises. I stayed up half the night, convinced I imagined it. But the next time it rained, there it was again. Help me. This time I didn't just hear it. I saw a movement. Like something shifting in the water just below the grate. A pale shape. Only for a second, then gone. I lost it. Called the landlord again, half yelling. He actually came over this time. Probably just to shut me up. Brought a wrench, popped the drain cover off, and shined a flashlight down there. Nothing. Just old pipes. Probably air pressure. Happens when it rains a lot, he said that explained the voice. I asked him dead serious, could someone be down there? He looked at me like I was insane. Down where? It's a drain. Leads out to the sewer. He left. Told me to buy a white noise machine and maybe lay off the weed. I don't even smoke. But here's the thing. It wasn't just the sound anymore. I started waking up to weird things. The first time, it was just my bathroom light was out. No big deal. Then a few nights later, I woke up to the door open. Bathroom door wide open. Light off, but the smell of wet earth hanging in the air like someone had just tracked in mud. And then one night, I woke up with the sound of breathing. Not mine, not close, faint. From the bathroom. I got up shaking and tiptoed to the door, peeked inside. And the drain cover was off. I hadn't touched it. I swear to God I hadn't touched it. I stared at it for maybe a full minute before finally walking in and putting the cover back on. I told myself I accidentally kicked it or something. But the next morning it was off again. That day I called out of work and went full detective. I checked every vent, every window, every possible entry point in the apartment. Nothing. Everything locked. No signs of forced entry. I even taped a piece of paper over the drain to see if it moved while I slept. That night, I didn't sleep at all. Around 3 a.m., I heard it again. Not a voice this time. Not gurgling, scraping. Metal on metal, like fingers dragging across the inside of the pipe. I got up, grabbed the flashlight, and walked to the bathroom. The paper was torn. The cover was gone again. And down in the dark of the pipe, I saw eyes. Swear to God I saw them. Two pale reflections staring up at me. Wide, silent. I screamed and ran out of the apartment, barefoot in the rain, banging on the upstairs neighbor's door like a maniac. He let me stay in his place for the rest of the night. Thought I was drunk. I didn't care. When the landlord came the next day, I refused to go back in. I made him check the whole apartment. He came out pale. Turns out behind the wall panel in the bathroom, when I never noticed, there was a crawl space. It led to a storm drain access tunnel that hadn't been used in years. It connected to an old maintenance shaft. And inside the shaft, they found blankets, food wrappers, and photos of me, taken through my bathroom mirror. There was a crack in the mirror frame, tiny, I never noticed it, but someone was living inside the walls, watching, crawling up through the drain when it rained because the sound covered the noise. They caught him 2 nights later, trying to break into another unit on the block. Just some guy, mid-40s, looked like any regular dude, been living in the tunnels under the neighborhood for months. Got evicted, never left. He told the cops he loved the sound of rain and wanted to be close to people who appreciated it too. He said I looked peaceful. They found a journal. He'd been watching me since I moved in, said he wanted to become part of my routine, whatever that means. Needless to say, I moved. I live in a 3rd-story apartment now. Brand new building, no weird drains, no wall panels. I bought a humidifier just so I could stop associating damp air with him. But sometimes, when it rains hard enough, I swear I can still hear the voice. Just 2 words. Help me.